on into the room. Be coachable, teachable, trainable, and post your city and state where you are catching this information from on today. Go ahead and give yourself a nice round of applause for being coachable, teachable, trainable, and following those directives from your girl, BrandMaster Martina Britt Yelverton, your go-to girl to help you guys get your assets in order so that you can go from being new, emerging, stuck, or struggling into the speaking voice, the valuable voice that will actually lend your gifts and talents out here into the internet. Okay. So welcome to tutorial 2 of our step-by-step building of your system for the new stuck or struggling emerging speaker. So as you guys know, when yesterday we discussed that we are revamping the tutorial so that you guys can get more clear step-by-step details. Okay, so we're calling this the revamp. Okay, and today we're discussing GHL forms. So if you are an emerging speaker who's been collecting business cards and email addresses on napkins, wondering how professional speakers capture leads so effortlessly, then today is the day for you, because today we are actually building that system out for you in real time. This is your first essential tool, right? A speaking inquiry form that actually gets you the information that you need to have great conversation with potential clients, potential EPs. Those are the event planners that will bring you in to deliver your valuable content to their audiences. Why do forms come first? All right, so before we begin to build funnels again or websites or anything else, you need to understand that you must capture the individual's information. And by capturing their information, you need to have a form. And here's why. Forms are, again, the foundation before anything else, right? Your funnel needs a form in order to capture leads. Your website needs a form for contacting you. Your CRM needs forms to gather the data. Without good forms, nothing else in your system will work. You will have people coming in, dropping through, perusing your entire space, right? And then what happens after they finish perusing your entire space? They leave. Okay. And that is exactly what you do not want to happen. You want forms to qualify your opportunities. A good forms tells you the difference between someone who's seriously considering hiring you as a speaker and someone who's just curious about pricing. Okay. Now think about it. This form will also save you time, because instead of spending 30 minutes on a call learning basic information that you could have gathered via a form, okay, you get it up front and you can focus on the conversation on a value and fit, whether or not that individual is a good fit for you. Forms also make you look professional. When someone has to provide event details to inquire about your services, it signals that you're a professional who takes speaking seriously, okay? So the one form that every speaker needs, and whether you are looking at this information and you're not yet considering yourself a speaker, still go ahead and absorb this information, take it in, okay? Do not disqualify this information. Don't be a nanny, panty, or whatever. Don't be a hater, okay? Don't be a tire kicker. Absorb this information and determine whether or not this is something that you may need to just customize for yourself. All right, because we're starting with the most important information for your business in the form of a form. This speaking inquiry form will capture everything that you need to know before you actually have to talk to a potential client. So don't worry about building out multiple forms right now. That will come later. We have many, many more advanced forms available in checklist, but we need you to master this one form first. Then we can add others later if needed. So it depends on what your specific niche or need is before you add on others later. But let's jump right into what I always want you guys to take away from each and every training and each and every tutorial, each and every live that you attend. And it is going to usually be 5 critical pieces of information. So today, the 5 essential questions that I need for you to be able to answer, or that your speaker inquiry form should answer. It's not 3, it's not 10. Right now, we're talking about exactly 5 essential questions. Number 1 question is, what type of event are you planning? Right? This helps you understand the context. Corporate training, conference keynotes, workshops, different event types have different expectations. And so if your form is available to answer that upfront for the EP, they're going to be dialed in because they're going to know right off top that you are thinking about them and the impact for their audience. Question number two, what's your event date or time frame? Okay, this shows if they're planning ahead or if someone is looking for someone next week. It also helps you determine if you're available, if you're a fit, if you want to pull things together in a quick time frame, or if you want to take the allotted time to develop something more customized. Right, without knowing the event date, you cannot know whether or not you're available. Question number three, how many people will be attending? This helps you understand the scope and whether your speaking style fits the audience style. This helps you understand whether or not the audience is a fit for you and whether or not you're even interested in that opportunity based on who or how many will be in the audience. Okay. Question number four, what outcomes are you hoping to achieve with this event? Now, you can, navigate how you want to ask this question, but this is one of the more important questions because it tells you if your expertise aligns with their goals. You want to always be thinking about the audience impact, what you have that is valuable, what your solution is, and whether or not that is even a problem for the audience that is going to be in attendance. Okay. What's your budget range for a speaker? Okay, this is essential for qualifying if they have really realistic expectations for professional speaking services. Again, these 5 questions give you everything you need to determine whether or not it's even worth a follow-up conversation. Now, we have a more advanced strategy that will automate the follow-up, where it's going to send out an email basically taking the information that was submitted and then take them to a next step, taking them a bit further, giving them a bit more information about you, the professional speaker, all done on automations. But if you did not ask these 5 essential questions anywhere in your form, this is a more advanced form that I'm going to show you in just a moment, but it still covers these 5 essential questions. What type of event are you planning? What's the expected date or time frame? How many people will be attending, or even what is the demographic of the people that are attending? What outcomes are you hoping to achieve with this event? What exactly is the impact, okay, of your speaking going to have for that EP's audience? And then number 5, what's your budget range for a speaker? You're asking that question again in general, just to see whether or not they're serious, number 1, whether or not it falls into your budget to speak. And I speak in depth about pricing so that you can set up your pricing structure correctly, right? Again, these 5 questions give you everything that you need to determine if it's even worth a follow-up conversation, if it's even worth putting them into your system to allow your workflows to take over. Okay. So with building your form inside of GHL, and if you have no earthly idea what your girl is talking about, GHL is Go High Level, is short for Go High Level. And GHL is a system that I utilize and that I create to build the entire speaking business system for speakers. I also have an agency that builds it for multiple other niche clients. But now, because we are actually the lead developer on a team for the virtual experience of SpeakerCon 2025, we are actually developing out the entire basic system for an emerging speaker. And that's the reason we're taking Q4, the last 3 and 4 months of this year of 2025, to make sure that we have that service available. And that service is provided utilizing GHL, Go High Level to start. And that link is ghl.martinabrityelverton.com. So with building your form in GHL, you must first have a GHL account, right? And once you go to ghl.martinabrityelverton.com, you're available to get a 2-week, 14-day free trial to try the system out, to set your entire system up and go ahead and make sure that it's a fit for you. And of course, if you have any problems being able to do that, you are also available to get inside of the free community.martinabrityelverton.com, to learn a little bit more about our speaking style, our delivery, our tips, our tools, the checklist that comes along with this tutorial to help you walk through the process, because you're not in this by yourself. Not only do we have the live training, we have checklists for the DIY person and the DWY person, and we also have a done for you system. So we got you covered from the rooter to the tutor. There's no need for you to worry about that. Again, we got you covered from the rooter to the tutor. Okay? Looking at building your form. Let me move the screen over here and ensure that I bring myself down so that as I share the screen over here, you guys will be able to see what you need to see as we open up the system. Now, are they still down there laughing? You know, I have these wonderful new sound effects, and half the time I don't know if it got finished. I think it got finished. Is it finished laughing? All right. So what I'm going to do is share the screen here, and we're going to go into the forms area. There we go. We should be full screen now. And hopefully you guys are available to see everything that you need to see. Looks like my end may have froze a little for me. Did it freeze? You're still good to go. I think you guys are still good to go. Alrighty, so here on the screen, you guys are available to see a GHL platform. And let me bring up my notes over here because I want to make sure that I'm staying in the correct order. So you're available to see the GHL platform here. And the first thing that you need to understand about your platform is depending on what access that you have, you may not see all these options over here on the left. You may see only one, you may see 10, you may see 3. It depends on what access you have been given, okay? And so the first thing that you need to determine is opening up your GHL account and seeing what access that you have. And you want to look on the left-hand side here and you want to navigate down and make sure you've clicked on sites so that you can see the toggle bar that's across here, the menu bar that is across here. And you want to actually go over here to forms and you want to go over to form builder. Now for you, you'll be adding a brand new form. Okay. And so when you're adding a brand new form, you're going to start from scratch. You do have the option to look at templates, but right now, while we're doing this very basic, let's just go in and click to create that form, and we want to name that form. So once we hit create, it's going to take an opportunity to bring it up. The first thing I say you want to do is you want to go up here and you want to name that form. Now, because you have a checklist that comes with this tutorial, you'll be able to open one tab, copy it, and go into the tab where you're working at and paste it. So speaker inquiry form. The next thing that you want to do is ensure that when you use the scratch, usually it's blank and your checklist will tell you to add a first name, add a name, add a phone, add an email. These are already prerequisites because if you're going to be sending content out from your system, the way my system that I set up for you and some of the basic information is already populated into every single snapshot, every single template, every single funnel, website, forum, community, membership, everything that you'll use. There are some starter items that are already populated to make sure that you do not fall off in the wrong direction, okay? And so as you'll see, you obviously need to capture their first name. Sometimes you can have that last name, sometimes you may not need it. But we want to make sure that that first name is always selected as a required field. Okay, I hope that makes sense for you guys. I hope that you understand why that makes sense, why you need to ensure that that is on each and everything. You want to know who it is that you're speaking with, all right? Whether or not you choose to have a last name at this point, you can click and delete this or you can keep it, okay? You also want to make sure that you're catching their phone number. Now, here is where I call it the rubber meeting the road. When you have it just say phone, because we're in this technology world, people automatically assume you mean their mobile phone. I like to make it clear that I'm meaning mobile phone, and I like to type in mobile here. I also like to make sure it's in the placeholder here, right? I want them to know I'm looking to get their mobile phone, not only for the availability for me to be able to text and meet, but also for me as the speaker. I want to be able to get into contact with that EP as soon as possible, whether I'm on site at the event or whether we're needing urgent information right before or right after the event. I want to be able to get in contact with that EP as soon as possible. Now, What are the other things that you wanna do is because, again, we live in this tech-driven world, and there are a lot of bots out here. One of the best ways you can ensure that it is a mobile phone is you can actually come over here and you can select to validate the phone, right? So when you select to have it say validate the phone, then what it's automatically going to do is it's going to shoot out a text message, and as you know, most landlines cannot get, confirmation text. So this is a way that you know that you are asking and receiving a valid mobile number because it's going to send them out, a code that they have to put back in. So that's why you want it to validate to ensure that that happens for you. Okay. And then finally, you want to make sure that you get an email address. You can do the same with requesting that it be validated. So it's going to send a code to their email. Now, these two steps are purely optional for you. If you take them off, it's going to lessen the friction so that EP will go ahead and give you that information. But I want accurate information, and I also want to make sure that the individual is actually paying attention and I'm qualifying them for some level or another of um, coachable, teachable, trainability, making sure that they can follow the instructions that are given to them. So sometime their phone may have an issue with being able to validate. So if you take the required off and for some reason they can't get that code because of their mobile carrier doing whatever mobile carriers do, then it will allow them to move on and process this form if you don't have selected as required. But of course, they're going to attempt to validate because it's an option that's there and they want you to contact them pretty quickly anyway. Okay. So make sure that you do that. All right. So again, we want to make sure that we have their first name definitely set as required so we'll know how to address them. Their last name, of course, is optional. Their mobile number is going to appear as it is not required. Okay. But most times they're going to want to go ahead and get that done. All right. Also, you want to ensure that you do make their email address required because you want to be able to communicate with them 24/7, and then it's up to them when they choose to answer. Also, you want to add in an organization field. So, an organization field is like their company, right? It can say business. You can change this to be whatever you want it to say, but reach over here in the left panel. See where this information for the business is, drag and drop an organization field and require them to say what the organization is, right? This can be just simple, all right? Should you want it to be this way. So again, now that we've got some of this basic information up here, you want them consenting to being able to hear from you. So you're saying whether it's transactional messaging or whether or not you're going to send them any type of marketing promotions and any of that, you can leave these two or you can take them out. Totally up to you. Okay. Now, next on our checklist, we're talking about adding your 5 essential questions and getting the answers from that EP again to save you time when it's time for you guys to reach out and actually have a conversation. So for the event type, we're going to use a drop down menu. All right. And what that means is the next area that we're putting on here, we can add a text box that actually says what we're naming this area. We could do it up here, and this could be named, let's see, EP. You could say event planner information. If that's not what you choose to call it, then change it what you want. But you want to make sure that your form is very formatted so that we know exactly what's happening. And then maybe for this one, you may want this area to say event type or event planner information up there, event, or you can have it say proposed event information, totally up to you. All right. So because this is, you want to know whether or not or what type of event this is, we're going to use what is called a drop down. Okay. And over here on the left side, we want to give them only one option. All right. And so if we bring this over here, we're going to bring it into the stream here. It's a multiple drop down. And when we click on it, now it's going to allow them to click the options that we have. Again, if you're looking at your notes, this is going to be called event type, and we're going to say over here on the left, because I am copying from the checklist that you get, in option number 1, we're going to go here under options and we're going to say event presentation, or is it a workshop or training session, or is it a panel discussion, or is it a corporate event, or is it a conference presentation? Or if you have other terms that you prefer to use, then you can do that, all right? And if you want to have an other option, you can have that there as well, okay? And so that is all you need for them to be able to answer. So I'm going to save this temporarily, and I'm going to pop this open into preview so you can see what that looks like. And here's what a single drop down is, where once they select it, that is what shows up. Now, if you want to be able them to be able to say, hey, I'm also having a panel discussion as well, then they can leave too. All right. And that's how you can utilize that area to have more than one. If you did not want them to be able to select multiple items, then instead of using the multi-line, use the single line box. Populate that information into the options area the exact same way. Okay. Now let's move on to the event date. You want to use a simple text field where they can type in the event date. So next we want to go down here. And the reason I'm saying to just go ahead and use a text field is because the date option that we have here, this little date picker can get a little funny, because sometimes people don't understand that you have to do the year first and then the month and the day. And then sometimes the date picker can show up where you do the date first and then you scroll for the year. Some people may feel some kind of way about having to scroll forever, like myself, to get all the way back to 72. And it's sometimes easier just to have the date typed in. Totally up to you at your discretion. Let's go ahead and grab another text field here. We want to name this text field event date. That is one way that you can do it. And then you can go down and use the simple single line text where they pop it in that way. And you could actually, if you wanted to, populate event date into there, okay? And allow them to type in the answer. Yes, you want to require that field. And again, yes, you do want them to say what type of event this is, all right? And then finally, you want to have an audience size. And with this one, let's go ahead and use the single line drop down for this one. And for this one, we want to go and we want to type attendance size there. Go over to our options here. And whatever your preferred method for attendance size would be, totally up to you how you choose to put this in the order that you want to put it in. I'm going to suggest that you start with your larger audience first. And yes, I'm intentionally putting these out of order so that you can see how to reorganize something should you want to make it change afterwards. And that is, you just go in and shift them around like so, like so. Okay. Save it anytime. All right. And for outcomes, if you would like them to leave, more comments or things like that, then you can use a text area underneath here if you want them to write a few more sentences about their audience. If you want them to leave the type of audience, what is the demographic of the audience, you can add all that in there as well. Okay. So for budget, when you're asking what is your budget, you can actually go ahead and utilize a drop down for that as well. And you can actually ask the question, what is your budget? Make it simple as possible, okay? Using your options over here. $10,000 plus, or whatever your highest valued speaking topic, workshop, keynote is, because you may have a range as an emerging speaker. You may not yet have one. Again, you may want to watch and listen to the quick wins that is available to help you understand. It is a 4-part series to help you understand how to set your pricing, and you may have a not sure yet. Not sure, or you may even don't have one yet, something like that. Being able to encompass all of their various styles. So again, this is really the key pieces of information. I would say we don't need event date because we have event information here. You're asking for the type, you're asking for the date, you're asking for the audience size, you're asking for the budget, okay? So this is one way that you can get those essential questions in: the type, the date, the size, the budget, okay? You can get all of that in. Let's scroll back up and verify, because again, I think I'm missing one. Type of event, date, people in attendance, outcomes hoping to achieve. So for that outcomes hoping to achieve, let's just go ahead and give them a multi-line text box, and then let's call that one outcome. So we could just say here, and for this one, we can say expected outcome for your attendees, and then allow them to comment there. So now you're covering all 5. Yes, you would like to know their outcomes. Yes, definitely you need to get a budget from them. And yes, you need to know about how many people you will be speaking before. Okay, so that covers the 5 essential. Now, again, this is a very clean form. If you're setting this form inside of an already designed funnel or website, then you don't need to go overkill and create a bunch of graphics, okay? Because you want the form to be easily found. You want to keep it clean. You want to keep it with as many default settings as you possibly can for right now. You want to make sure that it's mobile friendly. It's going to resize for you. GHL automatically handles that. So there really isn't anything more that you need to do for that. Just make sure, if needed, you go over here to these dots and you look at the styles, and maybe you give some extra cushion if you need to. You make sure that you put any extra, sizing to the text or any extra labeling that you need to add. But again, keep the form as clean as possible, right? So also you want to make sure that you are making the speaker button very visible and easy for them to know what you'd like to have done with that. And of course, you want them to submit submit the form to you, okay? So for you to do that, you're just going to copy from your checklist, add that information over. I pretty much like my buttons centered, and I pretty much like for them to have a border of about a radius of about 15. That's just my preference. If you don't want yours rounded, take that out. If you want it rounded more, take that number up, okay? Now, for your thank you message, going to copy from our notes here. All right, and you're going to set up a simple thank you message after this form is submitted, okay? Now, I didn't cover this right here because currently you may not have privacy policy in terms of service on yours. If you click, you can delete it, but it does look professional, okay, to have some policy and privacy terms of service or any of that information. If you need to know where to get that from, that is available for you. You can utilize YouTube University. You can utilize your Chat GPT, your very, very handy dandy assistant, Susan or Manny, to create for you that. And if you have no earthly idea what I'm talking about, you can go to manus.martinabrityelverton.com, manus.martinabrityelverton.com, and you can get your own Manny, okay? And Manny will be able to create for you from a simple conversation that you have with Manny, saying, hey, Manny, I'm a brand new emerging speaker, and what I would love to be able to do is to have a privacy policy and a terms of service statement on my form. I'm a brand new speaker, and feed it all of the information for yourself as a speaker, and ask it to spit out for you a very simple Google document to serve as your privacy policy in terms of service. When it does that, you're going to download that information, and then you are going to save it inside of your high level account in the media storage folder. And you are then going to grab the link from where you store it in your media storage folder, and you are going to link it by clicking on it here. And if you go up here and hover over that entire text, you are available to then create a link. So again, if I hover over this area here and I select the link, this is where I'm going to paste that link at. The same for the terms of service. I'm going to highlight it here, click these three dots, bring it up, and then I'm going to paste that information here so that this becomes a clickable authority looking information at the bottom of your form. Okay. Again, if you do not have a privacy policy or a terms of service statement for your form, you can utilize and look below and get the AI assistant Manny, giving you 1,500 credits for free plus 300 every single day that you log in. And the link available is manus.martina@yelverton.com so that you can get this done down here. Okay. So let's see, where were we? Getting ready to move into the last part, and that is the thank you for your speaking inquiry. So if you'll go up here to your settings, you'll have this right here that says on submit, you want to populate a message. This is where you're going to highlight and paste that information. Thank you for submitting your inquiry, and this is what will happen. You can move into message styling where you actually highlight this and format the way you want it to look. But again, right now we're going for default everything. Okay. So what you want to do with that, again, anytime they fill it out and they come back, if you have the sticky contact turned on, then anytime they come to any of your forms, your information will pre-populate, and that's going to save them time. Their information will pre-populate, and that's going to save them time. Always help your EPs and anybody coming to your forms, help them save time. So let's save again. Okay, and then let's preview it again. Let's refresh it so you can see everything that we've just added. And as you see, it's pre-populating based on me having filled out similar forms before. Okay, and that's what you want it to do for all of your contacts. So while we have a quick moment here before we close out this information, let me check my notes to see if I have forgotten anything. Okay, what I want to do also is make sure that you always save the form, as I said before. And to integrate this, you can select the integrate button here. This is going to allow you to share it to based on any of these platforms, grabbing this link, or if you need to actually create an email that this goes in. So if you have no funnel yet, you have no website yet, you are available to use a shortcut method by sending them a link, posting it to social media, okay, or you're available to embed it via this method inside of your form, website, or all of that if you've moved that far down the sequence. Because sometimes you guys will be hard-headed and you'll jump ahead, right? And then you'll jump in ahead, you'll move on, and you'll do something else that you wasn't supposed to do just yet, right? And you've already gotten that done. Then you can use the additional areas over here with the sharing or with the email, totally up to you. Okay. But what I am actually discussing with you in the method that I'm going to have you do is I want you to actually copy the form link. So I want you to go here to the share, and I want you to actually click the two squares over here and copy the form link, because the method that you're learning and the method that you learn with the BrandMaster is to utilize subdomains. So if you do not yet have any understanding of domains versus subdomains, domains is your address on the web. Subdomains are an extension added to your address on the web to help people get to an exact space at your address. So if your address is like your home address, then a suite number is an extension. If your address is like your home address, then let's look at the apartment number being your extension of your address, okay? Because you're saying, hey, I live at this big plot of land, but my office is only in this area. And so by you doing that, then you're saying, hey, when you come to my address, I really want you to go to this specific room only. And that is why you utilize a subdomain. That way you're available to point people to as many different areas of your brand specifically, right, without overwhelming them. So if you're talking about email and you want them to visit an email portion, then it's email.yourdomain.com. If you're talking about hair and you want them to go to a hair product, then it's hair product, whatever it is, .yourdomain.com. We'll get much, much, much further into domains a bit later, but I'm wanting you to copy this link and paste it into your clipboard, like so, into your clipboard, right? So that you can utilize it at a later date. And the way that I got that was Windows V. It brought up my clipboard. So if you're on a computer, it'll save it in your clipboard so that you can access this. And a beautiful thing about if you're going to be using it a lot, then go ahead and click these three dots. Most times you can pin it so that you can find it quickly. Again, you want to save that, and then you also want to test. So everything that I ever tell you guys is test, is test, is test. So one of the ways we can test that is we can drop that directly up here to ourselves to make sure the form populates, and we see that the form populates very, very well. You're also available to email this to yourself. There are many different ways that you can test it. And again, once you fill it out yourself, this is where all of your submissions from your EPs will show up. Again, this is the very, very, very default action that you can utilize to be able to access your forms. Okay. So before we let you go, where to use your dedicated forms. Let me bring this down because you guys don't need this right now. All right. Where to access your dedicated form. Okay. Where to use your forms. You can actually access them on a dedicated page. So, like I said before, if you're going to put it on a website, then you can actually have a dedicated page just for your forms that says speaking inquiries or book me or something like that. You can add it to your website navigation, meaning your navigation bar across the top, sides, or bottom. And you don't want to call this one contact. This one is actually called book me or speaking. You can include it in your email signatures. You can use it at networking events, especially if you have a domain set up and you're telling everybody, hey, BrandMaster Martina Britt Yelverton, my domain is martinabrityelverton.com. You could say, but if you need to book me, go to bookme.martinabrityelverton.com or booking@martinabrityelverton.com. However it flows naturally in your vernacular to use it. Okay. You can use it during networking in your email signature as a website navigation. You can also add it to any of your marketing materials. Include your link on your speaker one sheet. Don't know what a speaker one sheet is? We will get into that. You also want to make sure that you're doing best practices. And best practices are following up to your forms. Okay. But you know what? Before I jump into that, I did say I was going to share with you an example so you can see a more advanced form. Let me pull that back up. All right. So available to see a more advanced form, we're going to go to speaker, if I can type, martinabrityelverton.com. So this is the funnel that we currently have set up. Again, it's a very clean page to let the EP visit and find you on a page where they can actually envision you as a speaker for their event, giving a little bit of quick details about you. Click here to book the BrandMaster to speak. Please click here to book. When you click here to book, it's going to bring you to the form. If you choose not to click here to book and you're perusing the page, looking at all the various accolades, then you have a small bit of a snippet here, a little bit of a bio on this funnel page. You still arrive at the form. The full name, the email, the mobile number, the name of the organization or the event, right? What are the dates? How many attendees? Where is this being marketed at so that you can determine if this is something that you even want to speak at? What is the demographic of the audience in attendance? What is the speaking? And I might need to flip this because I thought I had the number with the demographic. So I might need to check that. Oh, I just skipped it when I said it. So I need to flip these two. What are the dates of the event? Then it should say where is the event being hosted or marketed so you can look into it. What is the demographic of the audience, and then how many attendees. So I need to flip these. I'm glad I saw that. I thought I had already corrected that. All right. And then again, what is the speaking date? Because the event may run 5 days, but they may only be looking for a speaker for the final day. All right. What is the proposed speaker budget? And then you can also offer, as I've done, again, this is a little bit more advanced, some of your most valuable speaking topics so they can specify how they feel. This is like more like that outcomes question so that they can specify how they feel a topic would resonate with their audience. Of course, consent, as I said, always have your privacy policy and your terms of service, and then submit the inquiry. And so the way that I currently have my funnel set up is that when you submit an inquiry, via my funnel. Let's see if I can get the correct one up. When you actually submit that and you go over to the next step, the thank you page for mine gives them not a confirmation message like we just discussed. Mine does not give them a confirmation message that just says thank you. It says thank you for your interest. Please allow the time frame, right? But then it says don't stop here. While you await your response from the agency, take a look at, and then it gives you this particular speaking opportunity where on this particular one, I spoke for Speaker Con, and this is what the entire speaking opportunity was. It also mentioned in the speaking opportunity a cheat sheet. So I go ahead and give them access to the cheat sheet. Okay. So they can follow along with everything that I'm talking about in the 5 W's of branding, which, if you noticed before, is one of my speaking topics. You look right here, the 5 W's of branding, and this is for any market. So that allows me to speak to any market generically, and you get a taste of that in the videos because we had an allotted time. So I had to bring down what could be a large keynote into a quick stage ready presentation that was done virtually. Okay. And so behind this, you want to make sure, as I was getting over into let's bring this back down. I was getting over into closing information about when someone submits your form, really you have 24 to 48 hours to respond because you want their interest to remain hot. Okay. And it could be a simple response of, you're looking at their event type, timeline, audience size, goals, budget, and all that. You want to make sure you look at that before you reply. So when they receive the thanks for your inquiry email, you can have that set up to say, hey, based on your event goals, I think I could provide real value to your audience. Let's schedule a brief call, because they may have said that they have no budget. And as a new speaking person, your budget starts out at $2,500. Well, if they have no budget and it starts out at $2,500, that's a $2,500 loss based on your projections. You might want to get on the phone with them and see if you can offer revenue sharing. That's where you can sell from the stage, and however much money you bring in, you deduct $2,500 for yourself, and maybe you share the balance with them. Either way, you can determine what type of fit this is. If they are a good fit, then follow up and schedule a call. If they are a poor fit, you can say, based on your event goals, I don't think I'm the best fit, but I'd be happy to recommend some colleagues who specialize in this area. So this is why you want to have a network. Okay. And if it's an unclear fit, you can say, I'd love to learn more about your event to see if we're a good fit. Let's schedule a brief call. Make that call less than 10 minutes. 15 minutes at the most if you have to go over, because again, your time is your money. All right. And then always end with clear next steps so they know what happens next. On the thank you page, I said to them, our agency is going to follow up with you. I also have an email that says, hey, book a next call. And then I have 2 to 3 subsequent emails in case they don't follow up within 24 hours or within 1 to 3 business days. Okay. This is all set on automations, which we get into later in our system. I believe we get into automations around. Yeah, we get into automations around tutorial 10. So know that it's in here. I'm not leaving you guys hanging or anything like that. Okay. So finally, with this last bit of information, you want to ensure that you are letting them know what happens next. Check your submissions daily, set up notifications so that you can track the information. And of course, look for patterns in the way and what people are selecting, how your information is going out, how they're finding you, and how they're ending up on your page. Okay. So in the next tutorial 3, we're going to be discussing building your calendar system. This is extremely important because when people submit your form and they determine that it is a good fit, they can easily book a call with you. I call them, a speaker inquiry chat or something like that. Book a call with you, and we'll create a simple booking calendar that makes you look professional and saves you that back and forth in the email, in the DMs, as they say. Your form and calendar will work together, and the form qualifies the opportunity, and the booking calendar will actually book the conversation. Okay. So that's your first essential tool. All right. Your very first essential tool for what we have endeavored to cover on today, and that is GHL forms. This is a part of the complete speaker inquiry form setup checklist that is available to you when you join us over in the BrandYOU community. So you can go to community.martinabrityelverton.com. When you join us over there in that community, there is a lot of good available for you over there inside of the community. There are tools, there are checklists, there are tutorials, more tutorials that are advanced. Now, you as a new and emerging speaker, let's get you guys to stay in order. Let's stay the course. Let's follow this in the order so that you can master this particular setup first. Okay. Again, we have templates and things that are available. This is where all of the implementation tools live. Okay. And so, like I said, on the next one, we're adding a calendar system so qualified prospects and people can easily book with you. And of course, if you'd rather have this entire system built for you, then again, you can reach out to myself. You can actually book time on the calendar to get a VIP day done. And this is actually where we can implement this entire system for you as a new and emerging speaker, literally in a 2 to 3 hour sessions. We like to go 2 hours to get all the information. The first hour is getting and gathering all of the information. The second hour literally is taking that vision that was just casting and organizing it, right? And then we get all the bells and whistles in place so that you can begin in that third hour to start to implement things. Now it's a 2 hour session, and then there's a follow-up 1 hour session once the system is actually put in place with all the information and the vision sharing that you did in the first 2 hours. You can literally have a speaker brand up and operating in a matter of 3 business hours, meaning 3 actual focused business hours. Your entire business system can be put together. So if you want to know more about that, go to vipday.martinabrityelverton.com, book that booking to have your business system built for you. But even better than that, your girl has a great offer for you. So if this entire thing is something that you cannot afford to shell out the investment for a VIP day right off the bat, then you may want to go ahead and register for SpeakerCon this November 5th through the 9th. If you go to speakercon2025.martinabrityelverton.com, that will allow you to go ahead and register for SpeakerCon as a registrant, as my special guest, and you will be entered into a drawing to win one of 3 slots to have your entire speaker brand business system put together for you, right? So that you can be a part of the beta opportunity to have your speaking business system done for you and put out here. You could even have it done before SpeakerCon. Totally up to you. But I hope that you found this information of value on today, and I look forward to seeing you on the very next tutorial. Like I said, it is tutorial 3, and we will be discussing what? GHL calendars. Thank you again for your time today. I'll catch you on the next one.